Hello everybody out there in YouTube land. This video has been the toughest one ever to make. I have started this video, I think this is the 7th time now. Matter of fact, I was just done recording and the camera shut off, screen went black, and it said there was no recording. And yet I was watching the timer because I didn't want it to be overly long, and I was already over 5 minutes, and so I don't know what happened to it. It disappeared. So now here I am again. So this video is kind of a two-part story. One, to get it going and explain what this video is about. My son had always wanted to have beehives. All his life he wanted beehives. Even though I'm allergic and he's very allergic. But he's not to be stopped when he wants something. And lo and behold, he did get the beehives. He's raising bees and honey. He loves it. He's been stung many times. He had to go to the doctor because he had a severe reaction to the bites, which we knew would happen. His skin blistered up. It got red and hard. He swelled up. He had to get steroids and EpiPens and some other crap. He's continues to get bit, but he won't give up the bees. Meanwhile, he had answered an ad. He was looking for beehive components, as cheap as he could get. And somebody had an ad, basically that they were selling parts and things that they had found on a property they bought that used to be an old bee business. Of a large scale, a commercial business. And I know that Josh had said over 800 hives at this particular location. So Josh went up there, bought the parts that he wanted, but he also discovered she had beeswax. And he bought a block of it. And he estimated that the block was probably 50 pounds, which I couldn't conceive of that it was. And then he told me that he had spent the day scraping the crap on the outside of the block off, because it was embedded in the dirt when they found it, and that it weighed 40 pounds. So I was like, how could you not get me some? Because I also have been looking for beeswax to use with my fire starters, because I had heard about beeswax. They burn longer than regular paraffin. And I always wanted them to see what it would be like, excuse me, to use the beeswax with the fat wood and make some cool fire starters. So anyway, long story short, we went to the bee place again. This time I went, and I said I wanted 5 of these blocks. And the woman showed us the box, and Josh climbed in there, and basically there was 2 kind of full blocks and then a bunch of small chunks and stuff, and Josh dug through the dirt and everything trying to pull out every last piece he could get, because I said I wanted 5. She thought there was 5 in there, and it was looking like there really wasn't. Well, then her husband had showed up, and Josh got everything out of that box. Was empty. Now the box, it was so old that the bottom rotted out. The wax that was in it had settled down into the dirt and collected crap from the ground, and it was embedded in the wax. And when you see them, it looks like boulders, not wax at all. And these boxes were underneath a walnut tree, and when they had gotten into the box itself, besides the blocks of wax, there was a whole bunch of walnuts the squirrels had been keeping in there. And so then she had told her husband, that I had come for the 5 blocks, but that didn't look like there really was. And he goes, well, just get some more out of the other box. And we're all like, other box? He goes, yeah, when they lifted the lid off the first box and it fell apart, it landed right on top of another box. You'll see in the pictures why you wouldn't notice it. The weeds are as tall as the boxes. So, and they were underneath this tree. It's a surprise that anybody found them at all, but there was an entire full box with full blocks in the other box. And the husband got a steel pry bar, and he popped out 2 of those blocks and gave them to me. So I had definitely 5 blocks by the time it was all said and done, and got them home. And then it took me 2 days to scrape the coating that was on the outside that was like dirt and possibly the debris from the wooden boxes. I don't know what all it was. There were stones. It was all kinds of stuff. But it took me 2 days. It took me about 20 hours to scrape all those blocks and pieces of wax that I had. And then I could finally see that the most of it looks like it's chocolate. It's dark brown. And I researched online, why is wax that color? And I saw wax that color, beeswax. I saw it in brown, shades of brown, and it said beeswax is different, depends on what the bees were doing when they made it, I guess. Long story short. And so it's beeswax. I ended up making a small candle, and I didn't have any wicks yet. And Josh just used twine. And I did, and I burned it, and it only lasted an hour. And I thought, well, that's not right. It seems like it would have burned way longer if it's beeswax. Well, then I got a real wick. It came in, and I finally, what I ordered came, and it burned 2 hours, and I put it out. So I didn't even burn it all the way down. I burned it for 2 hours and snuffed it out. And that was only a little candle that was 1.5 ounces, and it burned for 2 hours. So that made me really happy. So then I went right into ordering some candles molds, and I've been making candles every day that I've had off. That's what I've been working on. I'm making ones to give as gifts for Christmas time to my coworkers. I'm making small emergency ones. They have it looks like a shot glass shape that I'd gotten from work, and I'm pouring wax into those with a wick. They're like emergency use candles. They'll probably burn for about 3 hours because I think they're over 2 ounces each one. But that's what I've been doing. And then I wanted to decorate them, and I also found that I had some paint that I bought at one time and forgot I had, and it was golden glitter. And I put it on the brown candles, and it came out. They look beautiful. And so I've been doing that just like round the clock. And then in the meantime, I've got a little like ice cube tray shaped kind of like little plugs or whatever, bullets shaped. And I've been melting the wax into those and popping those out and putting them in Ziploc bags because it's more manageable to handle those little plug things than it is these jagged blocks of wax that I chopped up with the axe and a hammer out in the garage. So that's what I've got. I'm going to show you from start to finish Josh's beehives that started this whole thing up to where we went to this farm, which, by the way, we ended up researching it online, and we found it. It's a very famous farm, and it's dated back to the 1800s. That the first guy in the family who started the bee farm in the 1800s. He had it, then his son had it, and then his grandson ran it. And we think the last one who was there was the grandson. And we're talking 1900. That they're saying the 1900s, 1920s possibly, that the grandson was there. And so the wax has been sitting there, and everything in the farm has been left since the last beekeeper fell ill, got put in a home, whatever the case may be. That farm has been sitting there for just about 100 years, unattended, and everything has just been like deteriorating. So that's what we're guessing why this wax looks like it does. One of the reasons is it's very old, but it burns great. It's fantastic, and I just thought you guys would really like to see this this journey that we went on to get this wax and what I've been doing with it. So here's the video. And here's the boxes with the blocks of the ancient wax inside. The first box is empty, and they uncovered that second one, which you see is full of big blocks. And here's what it looks like, why I say it looked like boulders. And this is just some other pictures I took while we were there. And as you can see, this does not look like wax. No way, no how, but it is.